welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot? I'm Luke, that's John. Kyle's off enjoying holiday celebrations somewhere. And we've got two games this week. Not the same competition, but against teams in our league. We're out of the Open Cup. We're still salty about that. At least I am. I don't know about you.
We fought the good fight. That's easier to get over that quicker.
We fought the good fight at home. We're France.
Yeah, not an actual fight.
Not this time. So not a whole lot to talk about outside of the games this week. We didn't play anything last week. Didn't compete in the Jager matches over the weekend. But we do have a Jager match on Wednesday against the god-awful Central Valley Fuego. Looking at their league statistics, they have played 7 matches, lost 6, and won 1.
Oh, but please, Luke, don't take the governor off the vehicle. Tell us how you really feel about them.
Maybe they'll have 12 people show up at their match.
Are you talking about players?
Oh, no, I figure they'll have 18 players, but I mean 12 people in the stands.
Well, the match is here. I assume we'll have more than 12.
Well, we'll have more than 12, but that's true.
We'll
we do have
outdraw
2
them
home
if
games.
you're trying to get across.
Yeah. Consistently across the league. I mean, hopefully we do more than draw them.
So, 2-1 result for us in our favor last time at Fuego to start the season. And very, kind of a, very different team now than it was then, mostly out of necessity. Dos Santos, of course, started that game, but is hurt now. PC started that game. He is hurt now. Perkins started that game because we didn't have Dion ready.
They were hurt last time we played. We don't know if they'll be hurt this week because we've had a week and a half after playing an ultra congested schedule. So
that's true.
Previous injuries are kind of up in the air.
I have not seen anybody really walking around town. I'm assuming some players probably took off with the long weekend.
You are a regular player stalker, so.
I don't follow them anywhere. Just I want that on the record.
You just happen to live in the same area as them, and when everything came up for renewal after your marriage, you stayed there. I'm just saying.
I know. I know which players like coffee. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So last time we played against Fuego, we've had a pretty solid record against Fuego, home and away. Statistically, this year they went through some turmoil. It doesn't seem they came out the better for the turmoil. And their players are kind of not jiving the way you'd expect them to.
Historically, we've done well against Fuego when you look at the record, but it almost kind of seems like they punch down a little bit, and we kind of go to that level to kind of play with them. We've played some scrappy games. Remember, it was against them when they were really just bad at the end of the year, and they nearly ruined our streak at the end of the season last year. We've had some bad games against them.
They're kind of the new Tucson.
I mean, in a way, because
Tucson was better on the field, but like the games are physical, the games are chippy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I expect to see a very heavily rotated roster on Wednesday. Kids starting, Lapsley in goal. Like basically as much of our second line as we can going into NoCo, because even though NoCo is sitting last in the table, they've only played 4 matches, and statistically, traditionally, they're kind of a strong side.
I mean, 4 games in the league so far, it's really impossible to say how different they are this year than they are last
Yeah.
year. And all of this leads to everything that you just said. We've been prioritizing league over cup. We're about to play a cup game and then go to a league game on short rest. And then looking ahead, don't forget, coming up the following Wednesday is going to be a makeup game from the Chattanooga game where they didn't have their field ready. So we've got another stretch where we're playing 3 games in 8 days. This time, one again, just like how when you advance in the Open Cup, we weren't really expecting it. So it's some guys are going to have to play back to back at some point, and unless you do rotate in the middle game, which I do not see happening. I do not see us rotating a week lineup in a league home game against of the 3 teams. I know NoCo's bottom of the table. They played just 4 games. I'm not. Nobody's convinced they're the worst team in the league. I think of these next 3 games, that game's the hardest one.
So NoCo's bottom of the table, but only because they've had 2 draws and 2 losses. For the sake of just like keeping this relatively linear in how the pod goes, Central Valley rotated lineup. Don't believe it'll go to extra time. I think it's going to be a fun match. Go up on Wednesday, watch it. It'll be fun. Jumping on to Saturday, where it's actually a league and matters. NoCo, 2 wins, 2 losses, 4 games total played.
2 draws,
1 less game
2 losses.
Yeah. Sorry. 2 draws, 2 losses. They're on a +2 goal differential. Or no, sorry. -3 goal differential. 2 points over the 4 games. They've been a tough side. I think we see a very heavy starting team side against them because they're one where if you underestimate them, they will come back and bite you.
And I think it's, with just 6 total games, when you include cup games for them, 7 now. They've played 3 cup games. It's kind of hard to say that a team is, team started as X, but now they're Y. I think we all know that the start they had, the slow start they had, it's not who they are. They've also really had to kind of figure out a new identity offensively without Trevor Amon. And he's just one player.
Norte.
Yeah, and without Norte as well. And, they're just a couple of players, but still they're that important of players. It's, this offseason can sometimes be so short and you're not really working on chemistry. You're really just trying to find out which guys you want to sign, which guys you don't want to keep. You're not really focusing on the team gelling and getting into midseason form yet. Some teams, it just takes a while, and I'm not sold that they're bad, but not by any stretch.
Well, I mean, they still have Para up top, who's been very good across his years in the league. I don't doubt their ability to be a dynamic team throughout the season. They're not going in on 4 losses in 4 games with the lack of continuity. They won their first cup match, lost their second. Or
yes,
did they make the third?
No, I think they lost their second game.
So they're not a side that I think, as we said, we can underestimate.
No, and they've got a lot of guys that are familiar with us, familiar with the league.
Yeah. And most of their stats on FOTMob are still last year's, where top rated player was Norte.
I'll take it.
But I do think that is something worth mentioning. Norte starting against them, playing against his old coach, knowing how, having a little bit of insider bit, because I don't think his strategies have changed too much from previous years, and the way he's coaching has changed too much. So having a little bit more insight there, playing a player who was integral in their successes in previous years, I think that bodes well for us going in on Saturday.
It does. I'm trying to remember if Norte played against them or not in the Jager Cup game. He did start against them.
Yeah,
He wasn't. We were still doing a lot of lineup shifting, I think, in the center of the
because
midfield.
that was still a lot of early injuries, knocks that we were trying to balance Open Cup against Jager.
And we were still trying to figure out how the center midfield was going to work with PC as well, because I don't think PC was out at that point yet, and we were still just shifting around, seeing where guys are fitting best.
Yeah, I think we see our pretty steady lineup there. If Dos Santos is healthy, do you think you see him start against Fuego, or do you think? Because I don't imagine him coming back and playing 3 games.
I would be surprised if he starts a game before he's on a bench. I would say he's on the bench, even if he doesn't play. I'm not saying he has to be on the bench and play 20 minutes before he starts. Maybe he's on the bench for this game. Maybe he starts and goes 45 minutes or 60 minutes following Saturday.
I would normally say that, but Dom has, especially after breaks, Dom has brought guys who'd been on injury and just puts them in the starting lineup without working them back in, especially key players.
Who's he done that with in the past?
God, you're making me pull specifics. I'm not the guy for specifics. I want to say last year he did that with Luca, where Luca started.
We got a head injury, right?
Yeah, but coming back from injury into the starting lineup, not necessarily playing the full 90, but starting.
Mm-hmm. And this is a stretch to do it, because nobody will have played for a week and a half when we play on Wednesday, and then getting into Saturday, there's going to be, you can still have a lot of guys that could probably play a lot of minutes if they play a lot of minutes on Wednesday as well. But
yeah,
I still and with the cup games, do you want to waste a bench spot on Dos Santos? Now I know it's technically still just a home game for us, which means that any academy player, which I think in this case is just Bronick, basically gets a free spot on the bench. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you're going to use a spot for him and not keep another player on the bench. It's a little more.
Bronick being an academy player, I don't think matters, because Bronick's good.
Yeah, I agree. Just saying that we don't have to make that decision when it comes to who to give spots to.
Yeah.
On Wednesday.
I think one of the biggest lineup things we may have to contend with is Dos Santos as relevant as he was with Misael being as good as he is?
So we definitely, I think, approach the attack differently, obviously, with Dos Santos on the field. He can hold it a little bit, but it doesn't mean we necessarily have to play terribly different, because all it's going to do is just change when those wingers go around and strike. Now for Misael, it's a little different because he seems to be his most successful. Not as like a, I don't think he's been really playing as a lone striker, but he's
Yeah,
kind of close to it.
He's not a prototypical 9.
For sure.
But he's more or less a false 9.
Yeah, because we have 3 guys when they're playing together in Misael, Joe Gallardo, and Aaron Gomez that kind of all want to play the same position. They all kind of, none of them want to attack directly from the center, I don't think. And
you're not wrong.
And with Steven, it's a little different. He's definitely in the middle of the field, and guys are going to have to work around him. It's not necessarily a bad thing, of course. It just means that somebody's got to have to kind of, well, in this case, probably, not start the game.
So with the form Misael's been in and how integral Steven has been for us in the past, do you think it's likely you see Steven start as the sole 9 and Misael in there as a false 9 and Dom flexes his?
I don't know. It's intriguing because I'm trying to remember which game Steven got hurt in. It was right before half. It was a home game.
I think that was a Charlotte, wasn't it? Charlotte Cup?
Or it was Tormenta. No, it wasn't Tormenta. I don't think Tormenta was more recent. Either way, it's, Steven was having a very good game, and he was having a good game in positions where he's not usually at his strongest. He was playing better closer to the sideline and off the ball. So if that's what we have to look forward to from him as the season goes on, when he's healthy, then, maybe we can't use as much empirical evidence from last year to, determine how they're going to play if he and Misael do play together.
So the thing that, where I would particularly advocate Steven and Misael playing together is Misael is very good at taking opportunities off a ball held up.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good. He's not necessarily great at bringing it in and finishing it, but if the ball is up there, he is going to take the chance and get it. Steven is exceptional at hold up play. He's a very physical, tall player. He's going to win the ball. He's going to hold on to it in the attacking quarter of the field. Him up there, whether he can score or not, if he can lay it off for Misael, that to me is one of probably the most dangerous duos in the league.
Yeah, almost kind of like a basketball pick and roll. Because I was just gonna kind of say exactly. Dos Santos is basically like early 2000s Shaq. Just he's gonna find his spot. He's gonna put his back to his opponent. He's gonna ask for the ball. Only this time, hopefully. Well, I mean, Shaq either dunked or got fouled. So maybe with Steven, there's a bit more option than either put it on the net or go to the ground. I'm hoping there is.
Well, and that's really something there is not requiring Steven to take every chance he gets, but having somebody there who he knows he can lay it off to and is going to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Having 2 solid finishers up top, and not to say we don't have more guys who can score goals. We've clearly shown that with as many goals as we've scored across as many people as who have scored them. But with Misael and Steven, I see an opportunity for some real synergies up top. Great hold up play followed by great finishing, or Steven just having defenders pulled off of him by Misael being up there. And so he's able to finish himself. There's so much opportunity for give and take on the ball and off the ball for those two that unless Dom really wants to rest them independent of each other, I see that as a great opportunity for Union Omaha.
There's also don't forget about the possibility that maybe DeSantos plays the first half and he's a planned sub off the second half. Short
Entirely
rest,
possible.
rest. It's another league game on the road. Chattanooga, unlike years past, won't be a turf field. It's going to be grass. So if he wants to put him back-to-back games, yeah, we'll see. I've not looked at recent Chattanooga highlights since their first home game. Have they had another home game since that game?
I think this might be their first.
They played one. It
I
was
don't
awful.
know for certain, but
They played one and it was just very, very bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Steven subbed off and Misael come on in replace of him. But what I'd rather see is them both start while Steven's still coming back from his injury, and then Misael stays on, and you bring on
It's probably Lagos
reversal.
at this point. He's probably the odd man out if you're playing both of them at the same time.
Yeah,
And he was the spark off the bench against Charlotte.
Lagos has been very good. He just should never play defense.
Gosh, he seems like he's having so much fun just dribbling around guys now. Once he's comfortable, he's such a different player.
He's tapping into his Angolan blood. Like in African soccer, Angola is referred to as Brazil or Brazil of Africa. Like you see players picking the single name, everything, like really channeling that Brazilian football culture, and the way he's been playing is very Brazilian, and I love it.
He did Austin Pack and the rest of the Charlotte defense so dirty with that assist on the end line. My gosh, just like that was a crime.
They fucking deserved it.
Yeah, you could tell they wanted that one. You could tell they wanted that one bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we haven't talked about the last game. I'm not sure we need to because Tim Howerton writes such great recaps, so you can just go check it out on wgahmedia.com. But we showed that we're a 90-minute team this year. Like we're not losing in the last 10 minutes of the game. We were down going into half and came back, scored 4 goals.
And not with the style we played like in the second half. In the first half, shorter passes. It looked like we were trying to get to the midfield and they were just collapsing on us every time we got it to midfield. And then they were punching back quick.
That first half was miserable.
The second half was different. Longer passes. We were playing more up the side, less in the middle. And, once, guys like Lagos are finding themselves in open space, they're just, they just keep going, just pressing forward.
To be a fly on that locker room wall at halftime.
That was probably not too enjoyable. And the guys would have been miserable because I forget it. I think it was still pouring rain when the halftime whistle blew.
It started
by the time.
Like the game started, it was not raining. By 10 minutes in, it was solidly raining. And by 20 minutes in, the camera we were watching on, or like the camera for the broadcast, could not be wiped off quick enough and was just getting blurry.
I mean, thank goodness that game was in Charlotte. They might have the best pitch in the league right now. And it's because like that was 30, 35 minutes of just looked like just miserable conditions.
I'd say Spokane has a better pitch.
I keep forgetting about them now. Yeah, that's probably a decent argument.
Like the 2 soccer specific stadiums in the league right now. And I'd say Spokane has the better one, but Charlotte's is not a subpar pitch. Well, Chattanooga has a soccer specific stadium, but you can't use it because it doesn't have lights, it doesn't have turf, it doesn't have grass, whatever the fuck it is. You finish your goddamn stadium.
I'm hoping you're not putting the curse on us.
No, I mean, we haven't broken ground. We
Yeah,
break
but
ground.
just let's not put that kavorka on us with once we start, not stop, like stopping,
Wait,
I should
wait,
say,
wait.
not finishing.
Have you not been stockpiling spotlights?
No,
Why not? I'm not pulling a Chattanooga here.
that's well, I mean, hopefully we're close enough to some larger stadiums with with higher lights. Maybe we can just like kind of do a quasi floodlight thing that gets it to. I don't know. Hopefully not gonna be
Just
a
go
problem.
over, take a chainsaw, cut their lights down, bring them over, rig up some interim power. Like, we'll make it work.
I mean, I have some friends from back home that could probably make it happen.
Noted. Don't have stadium lights in Mississippi. They will get stolen.
Yeah, there's some morons that think there's copper in them.
Uh, all right, let's I think we need to talk score predictions for this because you have one game that can end at a draw but would go to overtime. And then one game that it's not a need win, but a win would put us solidly top of the table again.
So score predictions for both.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go wild and say 4-2 for us against Fuego.
I'm gonna stick at my 3-0.
Equally works as well. I know. I mean, you are actually starting to see teams score more goals in these Jager Cup games, and at some point, like if you get in a quick lead, it's starting to become like don't take your foot off the gas.
But the reason for it is I think our defense, even our second line defense, is showing they have skill, and Lapsley is very solid there, and I see him starting. Especially at home, he's doing well.
Yeah, and
So
he's played a game at Warner, so we don't have to worry about him. But he's played multiple
he's
games at
played a few
Warner.
games at Werner.
God, I should. Wallace, I am sorry I brought that up. Um, so
I'm not.
because we're past the point now where we really have to worry about how guys are feeling playing on a pitch of that dimensions.
No.
Second game, um, I'm gonna say this one's tighter to the vest, and I'm gonna say 2-1. I say we score early. Maybe we concede early as well, and then it's just counter punching until we finish it.
So the home game, first day of June, school's out. I think it'll be a good crowd, but I think we concede first.
Okay.
And I think we not necessarily Charlotte it, but it's a game of counter and driving it home after we concede one in front of a good crowd.
Which is strange to say but we just put 4 goals past Austin Pack with having one of the better keepers in the league in Austin Pack having to come from behind 1-0 against.
But weather was a fluke there.
Yes, that's totally agree with that. So yeah, I mean conceding first at home, it's not something we're immune to. Although we have played what now 3 games at Warner this year. It's hard for me to remember because I was sick and missed one of them.
A Jager match, a Open Cup, and a league match.
2 league matches then, Charlotte and Tormenta.
Wasn't Charlotte
We
Jager?
finished 0-0 against Charlotte. That was the league game. Yeah, our out of group Jager Cup games are Madison and Chattanooga this year.
All right.
Uh,
Not doubting you. I'm just confused by that. I missed my third ever home game this year because I was at a conference and I was trying to remember who that was
you missed
against.
you missed the same game I missed, I believe. You missed the NoCo game, the Jager Cup game.
So yeah, I missed the Jaeger Cup game. Um, yeah, because our last five is no, they're not even showing all of our last five. Yeah. So same pitch twice in a row. Last time we had two games in a row. Pitch looked good for the second game. Not so great for the first. Hopefully they figured it out so it looks good for both. And we see some solid Union Omaha winning.
It's been too long since we got to see them play in person. I'm ready.
Yeah. Been too long since we've seen them play.
A little bit.
I guess let's supporter related things. You know where the watch party for Parliament will be on that Makeup Wednesday?
I believe that will be at Cross Strain, but I encourage
Cross-train millwork?
everybody to I encourage everybody to keep going to the website where it'll be updated.
Okay.
Because you're right, that is a makeup game that they're probably not aware of.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's not during College World Series, and we don't have to worry about that.
So sounds like cross-train millwork is one of your watch party options for the game against Chattanooga on the Wednesday following the first. Math is hard right now. You also have St. Andrews and Benson, where BHC is watching for your away games. So be sure to follow both groups who seem to have the most consistent watch party acknowledgments. Other than that, this Saturday's game against NoCo is the start of Parliament, and I don't know if Parliament's doing it with anybody else, but their Pride Raiser.
Omaha Parliament looks like they are doing their Pride Raiser for June with, I am blanking right now on the organization. My apologies for that.
You're the vice president.
I am. I'm also the point of contact, and I was not ready to to talk about this on the podcast. So we are partnering with Omaha for Us this year. It's a great organization that's helping to create equitable spaces and services to the LGBTQ plus community, individuals and their families, not just in Omaha, but all of Eastern Nebraska and Western Iowa. 5 games this year, and you can pledge how much you want to give per goal for each of those 5 games. Just because we played a game doesn't mean you still can't pledge. Just because we played all 5 of our games doesn't mean you still can't pledge. Just because we've played all 5 of our games doesn't mean that you can't just simply give a one-time only donation to Omaha for Us, and just encourage everybody to participate and hope that Union Omaha scores a shit ton of goals in June.
Is it possible for people to find that on Omaha Parliament's website, or is it better through their social media to find the link where they can donate to Union Omaha goals scored to contribute towards Parliament's fundraising goals?
I suggest going to our social media accounts first. If we don't have it pinned to our social medias right now, we definitely will by the time June has started. Also suggest going to Pride Raiser's website if you want to find it through there. But we will also have it on the website as well, because I believe that's how it also goes through our PayPal. At the very least, we'll have a link to it if we don't have one already by the time you are listening to this.
All right. So 2 games, a watch party to look towards in the distant future, chance to donate towards very good cause. And as always, we got Union Omaha. So, John, the one question for you.
What would that be?
Who gives a hoot?
We do.